Once upon a time, in a small American town with quiet streets and a bakery that smelled like warm cinnamon every morning, there lived a girl named Maya Reed. She was 12 years old, with dark, thoughtful eyes, and a habit of tucking her hair behind her ear when she felt shy. Maya was like most kids at Willow Creek Middle School. She loved library days, drew tiny stars in the margins of her notebooks, and sat by the window on the school bus so she could watch dogs chase leaves in front yards. She laughed at silly jokes and shared snacks with her best friend, Grace. From far away, she looked like any other seventh grader. But Maya had a secret that made her feel different, quiet, heavy, and lonely. Maya had never had a birthday. Not once. No cake with candles, no party hats, no Make-A-Wish. When other kids wore paper crowns at school and passed out cupcakes, Maya clapped for them and smiled. She said happy birthday in a bright voice, but inside she felt a small, sharp ache, like a tiny stone in her shoe that never went away. At home, the calendar on the fridge was full of things her mom needed to remember. Rent due, late shift, parent-teacher night. But on the day that was supposed to be Maya's, there was always nothing. No circle and red marker, no sticky note with a smiley face. Just another day. Maya lived with her mom, Elena, in a small upstairs apartment above a hardware store. Her mom worked two jobs, one at the hospital cafeteria and another cleaning offices at night. She was kind and tired, with hands that always smelled faintly like lemon soap. When Maya was younger, she used to ask, "Mom, when is my birthday?" And her mom would answer with a soft voice and a busy smile, "Soon, honey, we'll do something special soon."
But soon never came. People had their guesses. Grace once whispered, "Maybe you're a leap day baby." But Maya had checked the calendar in secret. Her date wasn't February 29th. It was written on her birth paper in a drawer. Just a normal spring day. Still, that day came and went each year, quiet as a held breath. Sometimes Maya wondered if she had done something wrong, like maybe she was too much trouble or not special enough. Other times she wondered if birthdays were a kind of magic she just didn't have. On a gray afternoon in early March, Ms. Carter, the English teacher, announced, "Next week, we'll write personal essays. You can choose a memory, something important to you." The class buzzed with ideas. First trophies, sleepover stories, summer trips. Grace bumped Maya's shoulder. "You'll write about your birthday, right? Your best one?" Maya's mouth felt dry. She nodded anyway. "Yeah, sure." That night, rain tapped the apartment window while Maya did her homework at the kitchen table. Her mom came in late, hair damp, eyes tired, but warm. "Hey, May," she said, kissing her forehead. "Hungry?" "Mom," Maya asked softly, "did I ever have a birthday party? Even a small one? Maybe when I was little and I don't remember?" Her mom froze for a breath, then looked away to the sink. "We were busy back then. It was a hard time." "What happened?" Maya asked. The question hung in the air like a light that wouldn't turn on. Elena set down a glass too carefully. "Let's talk another night, okay? I'm so tired." "Okay," Maya whispered. Later, after the dishes were washed and the lights were off, Maya opened the drawer in the hallway, the one with important papers, old bills, school forms, stamps, and a folded birth certificate with her name, Maya Elena Reed. She touched the date with her finger. Real. True. Hers. She stood there in the blue glow from the window and made herself a quiet promise. "This year, I will find out why I never had a birthday. And if no one gives me one, I'll learn how to give one to myself. Outside, the rain slowed to a soft hush. In the dark apartment, the promise felt small but brave, like the first match struck in a long night. By Monday morning, Maya Reed already dreaded English class. She sat at her desk while other kids pulled out colorful papers and shared their stories. Balloons, family dinners, even surprise trips to Disney. The room was full of giggles and sugar-colored memories. When it was her turn, Maya walked slowly to the front with her essay clutched in both hands. The paper was almost blank, just a few sentences written in careful, uneven letters. She cleared her throat. My essay is called The Birthday I Don't Remember. The classroom went quiet. Even Ms. Carter tilted her head slightly.
I don't have a story about a cake or a party, Maya continued. I never had one. I've never blown out candles or made a wish. I don't know what it feels like to have people sing to you or open presents. A few whispers rustled through the room, but she kept going. I used to think maybe my mom forgot, but she's not the kind of person who forgets things, so I think there's something about my birthday she just can't talk about. Maybe it makes her sad. Maybe something bad happened that day. Her voice wavered, but she pushed through. I hope one day I'll find out why, and when I do, I'll still want a cake, even if it's just me and one candle. When she finished, no one laughed or whispered. Grace's eyes were shiny with tears. Miss Carter said softly, "That was brave, Maya. Thank you for sharing something so honest." After class, while everyone packed up, Grace hugged her. "You'll have one this year, even if we have to make it ourselves." Maya smiled for the first time that day. "Promise?" "Promise," Grace said, crossing her heart. But when Maya got home that afternoon, she found her mother sitting on the couch, holding something, a small, bent photograph. She looked up, startled, as Maya walked in. "Mom," said Maya quietly, "Miss Carter made us write about our birthdays." Her mom's hand trembled. "Oh. I told them I never had one. Is that true?" Elena looked at her daughter for a long moment, eyes full of something that wasn't just sadness, it was fear. "Maya," she whispered, "there are things I meant to tell you, just not yet." Maya's heart pounded. "Please, Mom, tell me now." Her mother looked down at the photo in her hand, a picture of a baby wrapped in a yellow blanket, a man's hand resting beside her. "Your birthday," she said softly, "is the day everything changed." The air in the small apartment felt heavy, like the whole room was holding its breath. Maya Reed sat across from her mother on the couch, watching her twist the photograph in her hands. "Mom," Maya whispered, "what do you mean the day everything changed?" Elena looked tired, older somehow. Her voice came out soft, as if each word carried weight. "I never wanted you to grow up without knowing, but I also didn't want you to carry my sadness." She handed Maya the photo. The edges were worn, and a faint crease ran through the middle. In it, a younger Elena smiled at the camera, her hair shorter and her face brighter. In her arms was a tiny newborn wrapped in a yellow blanket. A man knelt beside them, his hand resting gently on the baby's head. He was smiling too. "Who's that?" Maya asked, pointing at the man. Her eyes shimmered. "That's your father. His name was Aaron." "Was?" Elena nodded, tears spilling quietly down her cheeks. "He died the day you were born, Maya.
in a car accident on his way to the hospital. The room went still. The words seemed to echo inside her like a slow, dull heartbeat. Maya's mouth went dry. That's why we never celebrate? Elena nodded again. I couldn't. Every year when that day came around, I told myself I'd try, but all I could see was the road, the sirens, the phone call I never wanted to get. You were so small, and I didn't want my pain to touch you. So I pretended it was just another day. Maya clutched the photo to her chest. You mean every year, when I was waiting for a cake, you were remembering him? Elena covered her face with her hands. I'm sorry, baby. I wanted to protect you from that day, but maybe I just built a wall between us instead. Maya sat quietly, staring at the photo again. Her father's smile was wide and warm, full of a happiness frozen in time. I wish I could have met him, she said. You have his eyes, and his way of asking too many questions. Maya managed a small, trembling laugh. Then maybe I got his courage too, because I want to remember him. I don't want my birthday to be sad anymore, Mom. I want it to mean something. Her mother looked at her, a mix of sorrow and pride in her eyes. You really are your father's daughter. That night, long after her mother had gone to bed, Maya sat by the window with the photograph in her lap. Outside, the town was quiet, streetlights glowing like candles. She traced her father's smile with her finger and whispered, Hi, Dad. I think it's time I had a birthday. For the first time in her life, Maya Reed woke up feeling a strange kind of excitement, the kind that buzzes quietly beneath the skin. Now she finally knew the truth. Her birthday wasn't forgotten, it was avoided. But she had made up her mind. That was going to change. All day at school, she could barely focus. The story about her father kept circling her thoughts like a song that wouldn't end. When the last bell rang, she pulled Grace aside near the lockers. I know why I never had a birthday, she said softly. Grace blinked. You do? Maya nodded, her voice trembling. My dad died that day. My mom never wanted to celebrate because it hurts her too much. Grace's eyes widened. Oh, Maya. It's okay, Maya said quickly. I'm not mad, but I think I finally understand. She took a deep breath. That's why I need your help. Grace frowned. With what? Maya said, eyes steady now. With my birthday. I want to make one, not to forget him, but to remember him. I want it to be happy, just once.
Grace stared at her best friend, then smiled slowly. Okay, I'm in. What's the plan? They spent the walk home whispering ideas, a cake, balloons, maybe even music from the old speakers at the park. Nothing big, nothing fancy, just something real. That evening, while her mom worked the late shift, Maya pulled out a notebook and began to write. She titled the first page, Operation First Birthday. She drew check boxes next to each idea. Bake a cake, Dad's favorite flavor, find out what it was. Invite Grace. Find a place Mom won't expect. Do something kind for Dad. She closed the notebook and smiled for the first time in days. When her mom came home later, tired and quiet, Maya poured her a cup of tea. Hey, Mom, she said gently. What was Dad's favorite cake? Elena looked surprised by the question. Chocolate with raspberries, she said softly. Why? Maya shrugged, pretending to sound casual. Just wondering. Sounds good, right? Her mom smiled faintly. It was his favorite. He used to make it for me every year. When Elena went to bed, Maya whispered to herself, Then that's the one. The next day, she and Grace stopped by the corner bakery after school.
They looked through the glass case full of colorful cakes and cookies until Maya spotted one. Dark chocolate frosting, a swirl of raspberries on top, and a small white tag that said, "Made with love." Grace grinned. "That's it! The one!" Maya nodded, her throat tight. "Yeah," she said softly, "for both of us." And as the two girls stepped back into the cool spring air, Maya felt it, a flicker of something new. Not sadness, not anger, but hope. For the first time in her life, her birthday didn't feel like a day to avoid. It felt like a day waiting to be written. All week, Maya Reed couldn't stop thinking about the birthday cake at the bakery, the one she and Grace had picked out. She'd never ordered a cake before. The idea of it made her both nervous and excited, like stepping into someone else's life for a moment. That Friday afternoon, as rain began to fall, Maya stopped by the small thrift shop near the bus stop. She liked that place. It always smelled like dust and old books, and sometimes she'd find treasures nobody else noticed. Today, she wasn't looking for toys or clothes. She was looking for something special. Something to hold her first real birthday. Near the back of the shop, she found it. A small wooden box with a faded bow carved on the lid. It wasn't perfect, the corners were chipped,
and the clasp didn't quite close. But when she opened it, it made a soft creak, and something about that sound felt right. It was honest, real. She bought it for $2. That night she cleaned it carefully and set it on her desk. "This will be my birthday box," she whispered. "I'll fill it with things that remind me I was born for a reason." She started with the photograph of her dad. Then she added a small ribbon from one of her mom's hospital badges, something that reminded her how hard her mother worked. She wrote a note on a scrap of paper and folded it small. "My first wish. I want Mom to smile on my birthday, just once." The next day, she told Grace her idea. "I'm going to put one thing in it every year," Maya explained. "Something that reminds me of who I am, not who I lost." Grace nodded thoughtfully. "That's actually beautiful, like your own time capsule." Maya smiled. "Yeah, a box that proves I've been here." On the way home, Maya stopped by the bakery again. She stood on tiptoe at the counter and asked the lady with the red glasses, "Can I order the chocolate raspberry cake for next Saturday?" "Of course, sweetheart. Whose birthday?" Maya hesitated, then smiled shyly. "Mine." The woman scribbled her name on the order slip. "Well, happy early birthday, Maya." Hearing those words, her name and birthday together, made her chest ache in the best way. When she got home, she hid the receipt inside her birthday box. Her mom would still think Saturday was just another day, but not this time. This time, Maya had a secret plan, a best friend, a cake, and a wish written down on paper. And for the first time in 12 years, her birthday had a heartbeat. A few mornings later, Maya Reed stood in the kitchen staring at the calendar on the refrigerator. Her birthday, March 23rd, was just 3 days away. It looked so normal, written in neat blue pen on her birth certificate. But when she looked at the wall calendar, her heart skipped. March 23rd wasn't there. She blinked and counted again. March 21, 22, 24. Her mother's old wall calendar had skipped a square. "Mom," she called, frowning. From the next room, Elada replied, "Yes, honey?" "Did you buy a weird calendar? It's missing a day." Her mom laughed tiredly. "Oh, probably just a misprint, sweetheart. You know, those discount ones." But something about it made Maya uneasy. The box where her birthday should have been was gone, like it had never existed. Later that afternoon, Maya met Grace at the park. She showed her a photo of the calendar on her phone. "Look," she said, pointing, "it's missing." Grace frowned. "That's creepy, but maybe it's just a mistake." "Maybe," Maya murmured, "but sometimes it feels like the whole world skips my birthday, like it's trying to erase it." Grace didn't know what to say. She just put her hand on Maya's shoulder. "Hey, even if the calendar forgot, I won't." That night, Maya couldn't sleep. She got up and went to the drawer again, the one with her birth papers. She laid everything out carefully on the table. Birth certificate, baby photo, hospital bracelet. Then she noticed something she'd never seen before, written faintly in pencil on the back of the certificate. March 22nd, 11:59 p.m. She turned it over and looked at the date again. March 23rd. Her hands trembled. "He must have died just before midnight," she whispered. That's why her mom couldn't face that day, because for her, it wasn't just a birthday. It was the exact moment her father's life ended and hers began. The night was quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator. Maya sat at the table, the truth sinking deep into her chest.
She whispered, "We traded places." And somehow, she understood why her mother couldn't look at a cake or hear the word birthday. It wasn't just grief. It was guilt, the kind that never goes away. Maya pressed her hand over her heart. "Then I'll remember for both of us," she said softly. "I'll make March 23rd mean something again." She opened her birthday box and slipped a new note inside. "March 23rd isn't just my birthday. It's the day my dad gave me life." When she closed the lid, she felt lighter, not because the sadness was gone, but because now it belonged somewhere. The next morning, Maya Reed woke up with a new sense of purpose. The truth still hurt, the way every breath of cold air stings your lungs before it warms you, but she finally knew what her birthday meant, and she was going to celebrate it anyway. At school, she and Grace huddled over a notebook during lunch, whispering plans. Grace tore colorful pages from her binder and helped fold them into tiny cards. "Are you sure you want to invite people? It's your first one. We could just make a small. You, me, your mom." Maya hesitated. "I think that's what Mom needs, to see that the day can be happy again. If she sees everyone laughing, maybe she'll stop being afraid of it." Grace nodded. "Okay, then we'll make it perfect." On the front of each small card, they wrote, "You're invited to Maya Reed's first birthday party, Saturday, March 23rd, 4 p.m., at Willow Park, by the big oak tree." Maya handed out a few to classmates she trusted, the quiet kids, the kind ones. No one teased her. In fact, most of them smiled, surprised, but excited. "You never had one before?" one girl asked. "No," Maya said, "but it's never too late." When she got home that afternoon, she hid one last invitation inside the birthday box, addressed to her father. "Dear Dad, it's my first birthday. I wish you could come, but I think you'll be there anyway. In the wind, in the cake, in Mom's smile. Love, Maya." She folded it carefully and placed it next to the photograph. Then she took a deep breath and called out, "Mom?" Elena appeared in the doorway, still in her work uniform, eyes tired. "What is it, honey?" "I want you to come somewhere with me on Saturday." "Saturday?"
"Yes," Maya said. "To the park. Just us. and maybe a few friends." Her mother's smile faltered slightly. "Sweetheart, Saturday is—" "I know," Maya interrupted softly. "But I don't want to be sad anymore, Mom. I want to make it a good day. For both of us." Elena looked at her daughter for a long time, her lips trembling. Then she nodded. "Okay, Maya," she whispered. "If you're ready, I'll try to be too." That night, Maya lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, her heart fluttering between nerves and excitement. Her first birthday wasn't going to be perfect, but it was going to be real. And for the first time ever, March 23rd didn't feel like a day she had to survive. It felt like a day she was finally allowed to live. The day before her birthday dawned cold and bright. The spring air carried the smell of rain and something new, like change waiting just beyond the clouds. Maya Reed woke early, her stomach full of butterflies. Her first birthday was tomorrow. For 12 years, it had been a day wrapped in silence. Tomorrow, she was going to unwrap it herself. After breakfast, she and Grace met at the park to finish the decorations. The big oak tree near the pond would be their party spot. It was the same tree where Maya and her dad had been photographed together in the hospital garden before he died. The same one her mom always avoided walking past. Grace spread out paper streamers and balloons from her backpack. "You really think your mom's coming?" she asked gently. Maya nodded, though she wasn't sure. She said she'd try. They worked for hours, tying ribbons, setting up a little folding table, testing the portable speaker. When they were done, the old tree looked almost magical. It didn't feel like a grave of the past anymore. It felt like a beginning. On their way home, Maya stopped by the bakery to pick up the cake. The woman with red glasses smiled when she saw her. "Ah, the birthday girl, right on time." Maya beamed. "It's beautiful," she said, as she watched the lady place the chocolate raspberry cake carefully into a white box. When she reached for it, something strange happened. The woman hesitated and asked softly, "Sweetheart, can I ask, why does this cake have 2 names on it?" Maya frowned. "2 names?" The baker turned the box so she could see the frosting. Written in pink cursive were the words, "Happy birthday, Maya and Aaron." Maya's heart stopped. "My dad's name," she whispered. The baker looked worried. "Your mother ordered it early this morning, said to make sure both names were perfect."
Maya's hands trembled as she took the box. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice shaking. All the way home, her mind swirled. Her mother had remembered. After all those years of silence, of avoiding, of pretending, she had remembered. When she got home, the apartment smelled faintly of vanilla candles. Her mom was sitting at the kitchen table, hands clasped, eyes red but calm. "You went to the bakery?" Maya said quietly. "I did." "Why?" Her mother took a deep breath. "Because you were right, Maya. It's time. Time to stop being afraid of that day, of him, of what happened." Maya set the cake box down gently. "You wrote both our names." Elena smiled sadly. "It's his day too. You came into the world as he left it. That doesn't have to be something dark anymore. It can be something beautiful. A bridge between us." For a long moment, they just looked at each other, mother and daughter, both carrying the same loss, the same love, the same need to heal. Maya reached across the table and took her hand. "Then let's make tomorrow beautiful." Her mother squeezed her hand back. Together.
That night, Maya placed the invitation she had written to her father on the windowsill. The wind caught the edge of the paper, fluttering it softly, like someone unseen was touching it. "See you tomorrow, Dad. We're finally going to celebrate." The next morning began quietly, the kind of stillness that comes before something important. The sunlight peeked through the curtains in soft gold ribbons, warming the room where Maya Reed slept. For a second, she didn't move. She just listened to the hum of the fridge, the faint whistle of the wind through the cracks in the window. It felt like every sound was whispering the same thing. It's time. Then, from the kitchen, came the soft clink of a spoon against a mug. Her mom was awake. Maya sat up, her heart racing. She slipped on her hoodie and padded into the kitchen. Elena was there, already dressed, making tea. When she turned and saw Maya, she smiled, a tired kind of smile, but a real one. "Morning, birthday girl," she said softly. Maya froze. For 12 years she had dreamed of hearing those words. Now that they were real, they almost didn't seem possible. "Did you just call me?" Her mom nodded, eyes bright with tears. "Happy birthday, sweetheart." Maya's throat tightened. "Thanks, Mom."
Elena poured a second cup of tea and handed it to her. "You know, I wasn't sure I could say it," she admitted, "but when I woke up, I heard your dad's voice in my head. Don't let her grow up in silence. And I realized he was right." Maya swallowed hard. "He'd be proud of you." Elena smiled faintly. "He'd be proud of us." They sat at the table together, sipping tea, while the morning sun painted soft stripes across the floor. On the counter sat the white box from the bakery. The words "Happy Birthday, Maya and Aaron" gleamed faintly through the plastic window. After breakfast, Elena braided Maya's hair the way she used to when Maya was little, something she hadn't done in years. "You've grown so much," she murmured. "Your dad would have loved your smile. You have his kind of light." Maya looked at her reflection in the window, the braid over her shoulder, her mother's gentle hands, and the soft glow of sunlight framing them both. "He's here," she whispered. "I can feel him." By noon, they packed the cake, paper plates, and napkins into a bag. Grace texted, "Everything's ready. The tree looks perfect." Maya smiled. "Let's go, Mom," she said. Elena hesitated for a moment, staring at the door. "I used to hate this day, but maybe today we'll start loving it again." "Yeah," Maya said, taking her hand. "Let's start." Outside, the sky was pale blue, the kind that feels new and forgiving. The world smelled like wet grass and sunshine. As they walked down the street toward the park, Maya glanced up at the clouds. "Happy birthday, Dad," she whispered. "We're on our way." When Maya Reed and her mother reached the park, the old oak tree stood bright and proud under the afternoon sun. Colorful ribbons fluttered in the breeze, and a picnic blanket was spread out with paper cups, juice boxes, and a few balloons that bumped gently against the branches. Grace was already there, her hair messy from tying decorations. "You made it," she said, waving. Maya grinned. "Of course I did. I wasn't missing my own party." Elena laughed softly, the first real laugh Maya had heard from her in a long time. One by one, a few classmates arrived. Quiet Ben, who brought homemade cookies, Layla, who had drawn a birthday card covered in stars, and Mrs. Carter, who showed up with her dog and said, "I couldn't let the bravest essay I've ever read go uncelebrated." Maya's heart swelled. It wasn't a big party, no music blaring, no mountains of presents, but it was warm and full of kindness. For her, it was perfect. As everyone gathered under the oak tree, Grace clapped her hands. "Okay, birthday girl, it's time."
Maya opened the cake box carefully. The smell of chocolate and raspberries filled the air.
When she lifted the lid, everyone read the icing aloud. Happy birthday, Maya and Aaron. Elena gasped quietly. You left his name, she whispered. Maya nodded. Because he's still part of today. He gave me my first breath, so this cake is for both of us. There was a hush, a gentle one, filled with something deeper than sadness. Mrs. Carter cleared her throat. Then I think 2 candles are in order. They stuck 2 small candles in the cake, one for Maya, one for Aaron, and lit them. The flames flickered side by side, bending toward each other in the breeze. Make a wish, Grace said. Maya closed her eyes. For a moment she felt everything at once, her mother's hand on her shoulder, her father's smile in the photo she kept in her box, the laughter of friends, the sunlight filtering through the branches. And she wished, not for toys or gifts or anything she could hold, but for peace, for her mom's heart to heal, for her dad to know she remembered him, and for every birthday to be a reminder that life, even when it hurts, is still a gift. When she blew out the candles, the wind caught the smoke and carried it upward. Everyone clapped. Elena hugged her tightly. Happy birthday, my love, her mother whispered in her ear. Happy birthday, Dad, Maya whispered back. They cut the cake together and laughter filled the park, soft, genuine, free. Even the birds seemed to sing a little louder. And for the first time in 12 years, March 23rd wasn't a day of loss. It was a day of belonging. That night, after the laughter faded and the last crumbs of cake were gone, Maya Reed sat at her desk, the glow of her small lamp casting golden light across her notebook. Her cheeks still hurt from smiling. Her heart felt full in a way she didn't know it could. Her mother had gone to bed early, tired but peaceful. Before she did, she'd hugged Maya a little longer than usual and whispered, "Thank you for giving me this day back." Now, alone in the quiet, Maya reached for her birthday box. The wooden lid creaked softly as she opened it. Inside lay the photograph of her parents, the folded invitation she'd written to her dad, and the scraps of paper from the past few days. She took a deep breath, picked up her pen, and began to write. Dear Dad, today was our birthday. I had cake, chocolate with raspberries, just like you liked. Mom smiled when she tasted it. I think she remembered what it felt like to be happy on this day.
There weren't many people, but it didn't matter. It was perfect. The kind of small, warm perfect that feels like sunlight on your skin after a long winter. For a long time, I thought my birthday was something I shouldn't have, that it belonged to the sadness of that night. But now I know it can belong to both of us. It can be the day you said goodbye and the day you gave me life. I'll celebrate for both of us every year, I promise. Love, Maya. She folded the letter carefully and placed it in the box, but before she closed the lid, she added one last note on a small piece of torn paper. Second wish. One day, I want to see Mom laugh again, really laugh. She smiled to herself and closed the box with a soft click. Outside, the sky was deep blue, the kind that holds the promise of rain. The moonlight glowed faintly through the curtains, silver and calm. For a moment, she thought about her dad, not as a ghost or a memory, but as a part of her. Every heartbeat, every breath, every new birthday to come. As she drifted toward sleep, she whispered, "Good night, Dad. Happy birthday." And in the silence that followed, the wind moved gently through the trees outside, almost like someone answering, "Good night, Maya." The morning after her first birthday party, Maya Reed woke to the sound of rain, soft, steady, endless. It wasn't the kind of rain that ruined plans. It was the kind that seemed to wash everything clean. Her mom was already gone for work, but she'd left a note on the kitchen table. "Left early, sweetheart. Thank you for yesterday. You made the day beautiful again. Love, Mom." Maya smiled as she read it. The house smelled faintly of chocolate and raspberries. She poured herself cereal and opened the window just a little, letting the sound of the rain fill the quiet apartment. When she sat down at her desk, she noticed her birthday box sitting there, closed neatly from the night before. For some reason, she felt a pull, like it was waiting for her. She opened it and saw the letter she had written to her father. The paper had a faint scent of cake and candle wax. Something made her pick up her pen again. She turned the page over and started writing another letter, not to her father this time, but to her mother. "Dear Mom, you've carried sadness for so long that you forgot how light feels. Yesterday you smiled for the first time without crying, and I want you to know I saw it. I'll never forget it. I know you lost Dad that night, but I lost you a little too. You were here, but you were somewhere else too, stuck in the moment he left. I think maybe that's why I never had birthdays. They would have made you remember too much. But now we can remember together. I don't want my birthday to erase the pain. I just want it to share the space with love. Love, Maya." When she finished, her throat ached. She folded the letter and added it to the box beside her father's. Then she grabbed her jacket, pulled up the hood, and ran through the rain to the park. The oak tree still had bits of ribbon caught in its branches, fluttering like tiny flags. The picnic table was wet, but Maya didn't mind. She sat down, feeling the raindrops splash gently on her sleeves. She whispered to the sky, "Dad, if you can hear me, can you help Mom remember that love doesn't disappear with loss?" A gust of wind rustled through the branches, soft, almost like a sigh, and Maya smiled. When she went home, soaked but peaceful, she found something new on the kitchen counter. It was a folded napkin with words written in her mother's familiar handwriting. "Next year, we'll bake the cake together." Maya touched the note with trembling fingers. "Next year," she whispered, smiling. And for the first time, the sound of rain didn't make her lonely. It sounded like hope. The following week, Maya Reed visited her school's music room after class. She had always liked it there. The smell of old wood and the way sound lingered in the air, like every note ever played had left behind a tiny piece of itself. Her teacher, Mr. Lawson, was stacking sheet music when he looked up and smiled. "Hey there, Maya. You here for practice?" "Sort of," she said shyly. I wanted to try something." He nodded. "Piano's all yours." When she sat down on the worn piano bench, she felt small and unsure. She pressed one key, then another. The notes echoed softly, uneven and hesitant, but they were alive. Her dad had played piano. She knew that now. Her mom had told her after the birthday. One of those quiet conversations that slipped out in the middle of doing dishes. "Your father loved music," she had said. "He used to play when he couldn't sleep. Said it made the world stop spinning for a little while." So now Maya wanted to find him there, in the space between the notes. She started with a slow tune, one she half remembered from an old lullaby. At first her hands fumbled, but then something happened. The rhythm found her. It was soft, like the sound of rain against a window, familiar and steady.
Mr. Lawson paused by the doorway, listening. "That's beautiful, Maya. Did you write it?" She nodded. "It's for my dad." He didn't ask anything more. He just smiled and said quietly, "Keep playing. Music remembers what words forget." She played until the sun dipped low and the golden light turned the piano keys to gold and shadow. Each note felt like a heartbeat, her father's, her own, and her mother's, all stitched together in sound. That evening, when she got home, she told her mom about the song. "Can I hear it sometime?" Elena asked, setting down a mug of tea. "Yeah," Maya said. "I want you to." Her mom smiled. "He'd be proud, you know. He used to say music was how you keep love alive." Maya looked down at her hands, the same hands that had found the melody. "Then I think I found a way to keep him here," she whispered. That night, she added a new item to her birthday box, a tiny piece of sheet music, folded gently. At the top, she wrote in neat pencil, "The song Dad left behind." And when she closed the lid, she didn't cry. She smiled. Because now, when she missed him, she could press her fingers to the piano keys, and he would answer back. A few evenings later, Maya Reed came home from school with a quiet excitement fluttering in her chest. The spring air was cool, but the world felt lighter now, like some invisible weight had finally lifted. When she stepped into the apartment, she found her mother at the kitchen table sorting through a pile of papers. The faint sound of the radio hummed in the background, an old song her parents used to love. "Mom," Maya said softly, "can you come with me for a minute?" Elena looked up, surprised. "Of course. What's wrong?" "Nothing's wrong," Maya said, smiling. "I just want to show you something." She led her mother into the small community hall on the ground floor of their building. Inside stood an old upright piano, its paint chipped, its keys yellowed. Someone had left it there years ago, but tonight it looked almost sacred. Maya sat down on the bench and took a deep breath. "This is the song I wrote, the one I told you about. It's called For Him. But tonight, it's also for you." Her mother didn't speak. She just nodded, her eyes already shining. Then Maya began to play. The first notes were soft, almost hesitant, like a whisper in the dark. Then the melody grew, slow, tender, full of love that had waited too long to be spoken. It was the kind of song that carried both sadness and peace, the way sunlight can hold warmth and shadow at the same time. Elena closed her eyes. As the music filled the room, she saw it all again. The hospital room, the phone call, the tiny baby she'd held through her tears. But the pain that usually came with those memories felt softer now, surrounded by her daughter's music. When the last note faded, silence hung between them, fragile and full. Maya looked up nervously. "Did you like it?"
Elena wiped her eyes and smiled. "Maya," she whispered, her voice trembling, "that was the most beautiful thing I've ever heard." Maya stood, and her mother wrapped her in a long, shaking hug. "For so long," Elena said softly, "I couldn't listen to music. It reminded me too much of your father. But tonight, I think he's been waiting for me to hear it again." Maya hugged her tighter. "Then maybe this was his song too." Elena nodded. "Yes, ours now." When they went back upstairs, Maya placed a new note in her birthday box before bed. Third wish. I want Mom to find joy again, not in the past, but here, with me. And as she drifted to sleep, the melody she had played still lingered in her mind, wrapping around her like a soft blanket. For the first time, she didn't dream of loss. She dreamed of light, laughter, and a piano that never stopped playing. Saturday mornings were usually quiet in the Reed apartment, a day for laundry humming in the corner, sunlight spilling across the living room rug, and the smell of toast drifting through the air. But this morning felt different. Not bad, just different.
While Maya was at the library with Grace, Elena decided to tidy up her daughter's room. She dusted the desk, folded the blanket at the foot of the bed, and smiled at the tiny sketches taped to the wall, drawings of trees, stars, and one labeled, "Me and Dad, the way I imagine him." As she reached to straighten the book, something small fell from the shelf and landed with a soft thud. A wooden box. Elena bent down and picked it up carefully. The lid had a tiny carved bow, the edges worn smooth from being opened many times. Her fingers hesitated on the clasp. She hadn't seen this before. Slowly, she lifted the lid. Inside, she found folded papers, photos, and little trinkets, a hospital bracelet, a ribbon, a note written in her daughter's handwriting. The first page she unfolded read, "My first wish. I want Mom to smile on my birthday. Just once." Her breath caught. She read the next one. "March 23rd isn't just my birthday. It's the day my dad gave me life." And then another, the letter addressed to her. "Dear Mom, you've carried sadness for so long that you forgot how light feels. Yesterday you smiled for the first time, without crying." Elena pressed a trembling hand to her mouth. Tears slipped down her cheeks, soft and silent. Every word felt like a mirror, one that showed both her pain and her daughter's love.
At the bottom of the box lay a photo of Aaron, her husband, holding baby Maya. The edges were frayed, but the love in that picture was whole. Elena whispered, "She's been remembering for both of us." When Maya came home later that afternoon, she found her mother sitting on the edge of her bed, the box open in her lap. "Maya," she said softly, "you made this?" Maya froze. You found it." Her mother nodded, tears still glistening. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to snoop. It fell." "It's okay," Maya said, sitting beside her. "It's not a secret box anymore." Elena took her daughter's hand. "I read your letters, every word, and I think you're right. I forgot how to feel light. You've been teaching me how." Maya squeezed her hand. "Then maybe it's your turn to make a wish." Elena smiled through her tears. "All right." She reached for one of the blank slips of paper inside the box and wrote carefully, "My wish, that every year from now on we share this day, for him, for you, for us." She placed it inside and closed the lid. And for the first time since that long-ago night in the hospital, she didn't see the box as a reminder of loss. She saw it as what it truly was, a place where love kept finding its way back home. That night, after dinner, the apartment was quiet except for the soft ticking of the clock on the wall. Elena stood by the window, looking out at the moonlight, her hands folded in front of her. "Elena," she said finally, "there's something I've been meaning to tell you, something I should have told you a long time ago." Maya looked up from the couch. "What is it?" Her mother turned toward her, eyes full of both fear and tenderness. "The day your father died, there was something he left behind, something for you." Maya's heart skipped. "For me?" Elena nodded. "At the hospital, when they brought you your baby blanket, the nurse handed me a small envelope. She said your father gave it to her on his way in, before the accident. He told her, if anything happens to me, make sure she gets this someday." Maya's breath caught. "You still have it?" Her mother walked to the bookshelf, opened the bottom drawer, and pulled out a small white envelope, yellowed with age, corners curled. She held it for a long moment before handing it to Maya. "It's yours," she whispered. Maya stared at it, her fingers trembling.
On the front, in fading ink, were the words, "For my daughter, the light of my life." Her throat tightened. Slowly, she opened it. Inside was a folded piece of paper, the handwriting uneven but strong.
She read aloud softly, her voice breaking with every line. My dear little girl, I don't know if I'll get to meet you, but I already love you more than anything in this world. If you're reading this, it means life took me somewhere you can't follow yet. But don't let that make you afraid of birthdays or beginnings. You're the start of something beautiful. You were born from love, and love doesn't end when someone leaves. It changes shape and finds its way back to you. Every year when your birthday comes, promise me one thing. Live that day. Laugh, sing, dance. Remind your mom that we are still with her, because I will be, always. Dad. Maya pressed the letter to her chest. She couldn't speak. Tears ran down her face silently, but she was smiling too. That strange mix of sadness and joy that love always carries. Elena sat beside her and pulled her close. I wasn't ready to read it before, but I think he knew you'd be strong enough to handle it, that you'd show me how to be strong again, too. Maya nodded, her voice trembling. He gave us both a gift, didn't he? Her mom brushed her hair back gently. He gave us you. Later that night, Maya placed the letter inside the birthday box, tucking it carefully between her own notes. For a moment, she thought she felt a warmth in the air. Soft, steady, familiar. Like someone standing nearby, watching over them. Thanks, Dad. I got your message. A few weeks passed, and spring began to unfold fully. The trees thick with green, the air sweet with new life. But for Maya Reed, something else was blooming too. A quiet, brave kind of joy she'd never known before. At school, Mr. Lawson asked the class for volunteers for the annual Spring Arts Night. You can sing, paint, play an instrument, anything that shows your heart, he said. Maya felt her stomach twist. For years, she had avoided standing in front of people. She wasn't the kind of girl who liked being noticed. But now she thought of her dad's letter. Live that day. Laugh, sing, dance. And she raised her hand. I'd like to play the piano, she said softly. Mr. Lawson smiled. Good choice, Maya. What will you play? She hesitated. Something I wrote. For my parents. The day of the performance arrived with golden light spilling across the school courtyard. Chairs were lined up in rows, parents chatting quietly, the smell of flowers in the air.
Elena sat in the second row, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. She was nervous for her daughter, but also proud. Proud in a way that made her chest ache. When it was Maya's turn, she stepped onto the small stage in her simple blue dress, her hair tied back with a white ribbon. The piano gleamed softly in the sunset. She took a deep breath and looked out at the crowd. Her mother's eyes met hers, steady, full of love. This song, Maya said into the microphone, her voice trembling a little, is called The Bridge Between. It's for my dad, who I never got to meet, and for my mom, who's helped me find him. Then she began to play. The first notes floated into the air like a soft prayer. The melody started low, gentle, searching, then slowly rose, bright and clear, like the moment when dawn breaks after a long night. It was her story in sound, the pain of not being remembered, the ache of discovery, the beauty of forgiveness, and the peace of knowing she was loved all along. By the time the final notes faded, there wasn't a sound in the courtyard, only the quiet rustle of wind and the shimmer of tears in the crowd. Elena stood up, clapping first, her eyes wet but shining. The audience followed, the sound swelling like thunder. Maya bowed, her hands shaking. Then she looked up at the sky, painted pink and gold by the setting sun, and smiled. "I did it, Dad. I lived today," she whispered under her breath. Her mom joined her on stage and wrapped her in a hug. "That song," Elena said softly, "I felt him in every note." Maya nodded, leaning into her mother's arms. "He was here. He always is." As the sun sank lower, the world around them glowed warm and golden. Two shadows side by side, holding on to what loss had tried to steal, but love had returned. A full year passed after Maya Reed's first real birthday, a year that felt lighter than all the ones before it. Every morning was still ordinary: cereal, homework, bus rides, and laughter with Grace. But something deep inside Maya had changed. She no longer felt invisible. Her life, once marked by silence, now carried music, color, and meaning. When March rolled around again, the air turned warm and soft. One evening, Maya came home to find her mother setting out a mixing bowl, flour, and cocoa powder on the kitchen counter. "Mom?" Maya asked, curious. Elena smiled. "I thought we could bake something. It's that time again." Maya blinked, realizing what she meant. "Already?" Her mother nodded. "Our day." They worked side by side, laughter mixing with the sound of the electric mixer. The chocolate batter splattered on their aprons, and the kitchen filled with the rich smell of raspberries and sugar. When the cake was baking, Elena leaned on the counter and said softly, "I think it's time we start a tradition." "What kind of tradition?" Her mom smiled. "Every year on your birthday, we'll do something for someone else, something kind. Your father used to say, 'Love grows best when it's shared.'" Maya thought for a moment, then grinned. "We could bring cake to the hospital cafeteria for the night staff. They're always working when everyone else is celebrating." Elena's eyes softened. "Just like your dad used to." So, that's what they did. After dinner, they packed half of the cake into a tin and walked hand in hand to the hospital. The cafeteria workers, tired, surprised, grateful, laughed and thanked them over and over. On the way home, Maya looked up at the night sky. The stars were scattered like candles, flickering softly above the town. "You know," Maya said, "for so many years, I thought birthdays were about getting. Now I think they're about giving back, about remembering how lucky we are to even have another one." Elena smiled. "You're right, sweetheart. And that's exactly the kind of person your father hoped you'd become." When they got home, Maya opened her birthday box again. She added a new note, written in her now more confident handwriting. "Fourth wish. Every year I'll share my day with someone who needs a reason to smile. Because love doesn't stop with us, it keeps moving." She slipped the note beside her father's letter, then closed the box. The clock ticked softly in the quiet apartment. Outside, a light breeze stirred the curtains, gentle, familiar. Maya smiled, whispering to the air, "Happy birthday, Dad. We did it again." And somewhere in the soft hum of the night, it almost felt like someone whispered back, "I know, sweetheart. Keep going." The years began to slip by softly, like pages turning in a favorite book. Maya Reed grew taller, her handwriting neater, her voice stronger. And every spring, when the air filled with the smell of rain and fresh grass, she took down her wooden birthday box and opened it carefully, like a door to the past. By the time she turned 16, the box was nearly full.
Inside were birthday letters and folded wishes, some faded, some still crisp. There were photos of her and her mom, little dried flower petals from park picnics, a folded program from her piano recital, and even a thank you card from the hospital staff she and her mom had visited every year with cake. Each note told a piece of her story, from the girl who never had a birthday to the young woman who now shared hers with others.
That year, as she sat on her bed, the box open in front of her, her mom came into the room carrying something small wrapped in a white cloth. "Hey," Elena said, sitting beside her. "It's getting full." Maya smiled. "I know. Guess I'm running out of room for memories." Her mom chuckled softly. "Then maybe it's time to start a new one." She unwrapped the cloth and handed Maya a second box, smaller, newer, but carved in the same design as the first. The same little bow on the lid, just like the one Maya had found years ago in the thrift shop. "I had a carpenter friend make it," Elena said. "He copied the old one exactly." Maya's eyes filled with tears. "It's beautiful, Mom." Her mom smiled. "I thought this one could be for the next chapter of your life, the one you'll fill on your own." Maya ran her fingers across the smooth lid, feeling the warmth of the wood. "I'll keep the old one for us, and this one for everything still ahead." They sat quietly for a moment, watching the sunset spill orange light across the floor. After a while, Maya opened the old box one last time that day. On top, she placed a new piece of paper, a short, simple note. "Fifth wish. May this box never really end, because love doesn't fit in just one lifetime." Elena smiled through her tears. "You sound more like him every day." Maya looked up. "Then I guess he's still teaching me." That night, she placed the second box beside the first on her dresser, the past and the future sitting side by side. And as the stars blinked above the quiet town, she whispered, "Dad, the first box was about remembering you. The second one will be about living for you." The wind rustled softly against the window pane, a sound she had come to know by heart, and somewhere deep inside her it felt like a promise being kept. Years passed. The seasons came and went, each one leaving its quiet mark on the little town of Willow Creek. The bakery changed owners. The oak tree at the park grew taller, and the laughter of children still echoed under its wide branches every spring. And now, Maya Reed, no longer the shy, uncertain girl who once waited for a birthday that never came, was 21 years old. She stood by the window of her small apartment near the college campus, watching the sunrise spill gold over the rooftops. On the table beside her sat two wooden boxes, one old, with worn edges and a faded bow, and one newer, polished smooth by time and care. Every year, she still opened them. The first one, the old box, held her story, the letters, the wishes, the tears, the small miracles. It was the map of her growing up, from pain to peace. The second one, her new box, held everything she had built since then. Notes from friends, ticket stubs from her first concert, thank you cards from kids she taught piano to, and photos of her mom smiling, really smiling, at the park, each March 23rd. That morning, she opened the first box again. Inside, tucked beneath the earliest notes, was her father's letter, the one she had memorized word for word. "Don't be afraid of birthdays or beginnings. You're the start of something beautiful." She traced the handwriting with her fingertip, and for the first time, she didn't cry. She just smiled. Her mom knocked on the door carrying a paper bag from the bakery. "Guess what I found?" she said, grinning. Maya laughed. "Let me guess. Chocolate with raspberries?" "Of course,"
Elena said. Some traditions never get old. They cut the cake together at the table, just like they had for the past 9 years. It wasn't fancy, no big party, no crowd, just warmth, light, and laughter that filled every quiet space in the room. Afterward, Maya pulled out her notebook and wrote her newest wish on a slip of paper. She folded it neatly and placed it in the second box. 6th wish: that someday someone who feels forgotten will hear my story and know they matter. Because birthdays aren't just about the day we were born, they're proof that we belong to this world. She closed the lid gently. Later, as the sun began to set, she walked to the park. The old oak tree still stood there strong as ever. She sat beneath it, her fingers tracing the bark, and whispered, "Thank you, Dad, for giving me the world on the day you left it." A soft breeze stirred the ribbons that still clung to the branches, faint and faded, but still there. And for the first time, she realized something simple and beautiful. She wasn't the girl who never had a birthday anymore. She was the girl who had finally learned what birthdays were for. To celebrate not just being born, but being alive. As the last light of day painted the sky pink and gold, Maya Reed smiled, closed her eyes, and made one final wish, not because she was missing something, but because she finally had everything. "Happy birthday," she whispered, to herself, to her father, and to the life that had finally begun.